Welcome, lovesick Power Ranger monsters, damsels in distress, and girlfriends in Canada who you wouldn't know, to episode 474 of an Unearthly podcast, streaming live on the 31st of January 2023. Aeolian, written by Dave Warner and starring Philippa Coulthard as Georgie Turner, Keegan Joyce as Starkey, Daniel Weber as Darius Pike, Robert Maloney as Professor Alistair Griffin, and John Leeson as the voice of K9. I am Bill Sylvia, the one in black, and I'm asking how hard is it to find a Doctor Who clip where someone says, "Don't hurt me," for an opening. With me are co-host Randy Ronson McCulloch.
Thank God the stint of K9 is almost over.
Color commentator Alex Fireheart.
Hello.
And technical director Matt Winchell.
Also guest starring for no apparent reason this week, Bill's random leg spikes. Yay.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I've heard it at least twice now since I got on the call.
Ah.
At least they're not
This isn't
severe
even
enough
a
to
video
kick you
call.
out yet, so we're at least going
No,
somewhere.
No. Bill doesn't have leg spikes, Matt. He just likes to occasionally yodel and turns off his mic when he does. All right. So how long has it been since our last podcast?
2 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 weeks? 2 weeks, and it's been even longer since I've been on because I haven't had a headset. I haven't had a headset for a while.
Ah.
But I finally joined the last decade and got a wireless headset. Seems to work pretty good.
I need to actually get another headset too, and I want it to properly cover my ears, and I want it to not be made of like bad material that falls off.
Yeah.
That was the thing out. Go ahead.
I've tried using wireless earbuds that are made for like a phone with like calls and meetings, and what I noticed is after 30 minutes of being on a call, they would turn off for some reason, and it only happened in like, I never tested it with Discord, but I would do that with Zoom meetings, team meetings, and it'd be like I could listen to I could watch a YouTube video for 3 hours, no problem. But if I was on a Zoom call, they would turn off after 30 minutes, and I don't know why. It's the battery wasn't dead. It's just,
Hey, Zoom.
I guess that's how they were programmed. But that was like $50 and under ones. I have Raycons now. I haven't tried it with them.
Well, the thing is, for me, is my headphones were being doubled as earmuffs. So I had them in a bag with a couple of items, and one of my trips to the hospital, the EMTs lost that bag.
Gotcha.
They swear to God they put it in the van, and I've thoroughly searched that van and can't find it.
Of course they do.
So, I had a nice couple week stint in the hospital here, getting myself juiced again.
I'm juicing.
Well, I do feel a bit like Violet Beauregard. And if you don't know who that is, you need to watch the Willy Wonka movies.
Welcome to paradise.
I didn't immediately make the connection, but now that you said that, I know what you're talking about.
Yes. And while we're here, Aaron dropped off some stuff that I had ordered off of Amazon, and including that was my new headset. So I've been enjoying that. And yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to say about what's been going on in my life besides bouncing between the homeless shelter and the hospital. So,
Mm.
how about the rest of you all? How's the 2 weeks been for you?
Oh God! Last week I worked 32 hours. This week I'm working 35 already. Thank God it's all front loaded this week, so I've got 2 more days after today, and then I've got the entire weekend to my birthday to myself.
Okay.
If they try calling Saturday, they are
Your phone is
barking
off.
up way up the wrong tree. Because
Like,
I'm not
oops,
even going to be in town as far as I'm concerned. Bye-bye.
Fair enough, yeah. You do that. I was gonna say, oh yeah, I was celebrating my birthday and I forgot to charge my phone.
No, it doesn't even have to be that. I literally even put in vacation. Nobody better be calling me. There's literally 4 hours on the calendar that says, Matt's not coming in today.
Are you actually going to be out of town?
Quite possibly. I have to still finish deciding where we're going to eat that day. We have many options. There's Texas Roadhouse in West Bend. There's one of our favorite Chinese buffets over in Beaver Dam. Plenty of options. And best of all, it's actually going to be semi-warm. It's going to be in the high 30s this weekend.
After 2 days of negative weather.
Yeah,
tomorrow
today
is cool. Thursday and Friday are gonna suck.
Actually, it's only Thursday. Friday is already going to be pushing to those 30s again.
That's not what I saw.
That's what I saw this morning. Maybe for me, maybe not for you.
Yeah, maybe there's a warm front passing by your area.
I wish. Friday. Well, it's positive. The high is 8. The low is 1.
Yikes. That's not what I saw this morning. Again, I'll check in a moment. I have to actually boot up my phone. I forgot to turn that back on after work. Whoops.
Saturday, though, is 33 and 27.
Meanwhile,
and next week it actually bounces into the 40s. Hey.
Other than that, I've actually joined another podcast.
Yeah.
I've joined a small group with another content creator. Some of you may know him, some of you maybe not. Ozzy Arcane. He has occasionally joined us on some video game stuff here and there, but he has decided he wants to start making content again, and his main focus is bad movies. With the refocus of the last couple weeks being bad and strange, so at least they're amusing and they're not all one note. This is terrible.
I was gonna say bad movies is not a very original premise, but yes, at least an original twist on it helps.
Yeah. So like we've been I've thrown his way that definitely if you want something strange but very entertaining, we need to watch Buckaroo Banzai.
Every now and then you find a movie that didn't do too well, but it's amusing as hell just because of how weird it is.
So far on the list of stuff we've watched, Masters of the Universe.
The old 80s movie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Love it, but it is not Masters of the Universe as you expect it to be. What else? Oh, what was there? There's a couple of really good ones. Oh, our first episode is Dungeons and Dragons. With Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons completely chewing scenery, if I recall.
Yep.
Yes, loving every minute of it. This is because he knows he's a turd and he's just going to have entertainment. That's all he needs.
He knows he's there for the paycheck.
There was at least one other movie that we've gone through. Oh, Super Mario Brothers.
God.
I'm not sure what the next one is. Oh, and the one I forgot was we also did Jason Goes to Hell.
Nice.
I'm like, if we're doing Jason Goes to Hell, we still need to throw 5 in there, if nothing else for how weird the ending is.
Just if you're doing that, you might as well do Freddy's Dead.
I believe that was brought up, yes. And I will say that I believe, yeah, Ozzy just recently watched most of these slasher films, and he's like, most of these are actually pretty decent, but there's a few of these that are absolutely terrible. Apparently he saw Jason Goes to Hell. He had to call up one of his friends, Kevin, and had to sit there for like an hour, hour and a half, going through how much he hates it.
Yeah, I'm in the minority of people who I managed to turn off the actual continuity caring part of my brain while I watch that movie, and I just enjoy Jason Goes to Hell as a weird ass slasher movie that involves new powers that have never been in any other movie before.
It weren't in any of the sequels either.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely better than the movie that came directly before it, which was utter crap.
Which one was that? The Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Jason.
I'm
takes
sorry,
a
I'll
boat
take
to
Manhattan. It's bad, but it's fun bad.
Jason tries to be in a Freddy movie.
I will also say the same about Jason X. It's bad, but it's fun bad.
I mean, that one's intentionally.
So before this accidentally becomes a slasher movie podcast.
Anyway.
Well, I was just going to ask Matt one more question.
Okay.
Do you rate the movie based on doses of Malox?
I haven't heard of that particular one, but we do give like a final. What do you think of this movie?
Yeah, I would. I'd be like, I give it 3 doses of Malox. Is that your rating on how good is this? No, that's how many doses I'd need to get through the movie.
I'd give this 3 beers. That's how much I need to be able to sit through this piece of shit.
Yeah, but that's hardly original, considering the angry video game nerd pretty much came out the gate with that in his Rolling Rocks.
I think he gave up on that after like 5 episodes, didn't he?
Oh, nope, he still does it.
I didn't notice. Okay.
It's not as prevalent as it used to be, but I did notice it in like the last one he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I know we have like there's like technically 4 of us on that particular show, and we have been like constantly giving Ozzy ideas, and it's basically up to what does everybody have that they can watch off stream if we can, and then have a night to just talk about it, and then there's also what can he find that he can allow us all to see at once, and then do the episode on it. And he's apparently planning, I believe in the next couple of weeks, to release the first episode. We're like pre-filming like 4 or 5 episodes, and he's planning like once a month.
Gotcha.
Once or twice a month.
So he's still looking for content to watch?
He'll go through it and figure out which ones are readily available for us, yes.
Zardoz.
I should throw that at him. That would be so me. Yeah, you all need to watch Zardoz. Have you ever heard of Zardoz? You all need to watch Zardoz.
Remember, you forced me to watch that piece of crap.
You, Aaron, Barry, and wasn't Aaron's friend from work there too for that?
I think so.
Yeah. You'd never look at Sean Connery the same again, I swear.
So in terms of my own life, yeah, the semester's been starting, but it's been pretty much smooth. The most challenging thing, of course, is at this time of year, my building's heat kicks on, and even when I have my own apartment's heat off, that means that at night it is too hot to sleep, and I want to sleep in the daytime because the heat is not as high when it's slightly warmer outside. So I've been trying to ignore that and just force my way through, to varying degrees of success.
One of those apartments that just, we pay for the heat, but we're going to control it.
It's done by a boiler with like pipes that are kind of in between. Like it's for me, it's in the ceiling. I don't know if it's the same on every floor.
Okay, so it's radiant. It's radiant heat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had an apartment that had that once.
Gotcha.
We were it was a 3-story apartment complex. We were on the second floor, which means there were pipes above us and pipes below us. And it was 20 degrees below zero outside. I had the window open in my room because it was 105 degrees in the house.
I know on the rare occasion that it actually does drop, I know that turning up my heat actually does work, but it's pretty rare that it actually gets cold in here. I'm guessing only when the people around me are on vacation or whatever. But yeah, related to temperature, I've noticed this might be an aging thing. I'm becoming a person that whenever a dip in temperature is coming, I get headaches due to the change in air pressure. And this is a new thing for me, so it's very annoying. But that seems to be a thing now.
Are you telling me, Bill, that you're old fogeyizing?
Kind of.
He's aging faster than the rest of us. Oof.
Like every time I see a forecast that the temperature is going to drop 30 degrees, I end up waking up with a headache.
I'll leave him. I'll leave him my walker in my will.
Other than that, nothing especially interesting on my end.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny hearing you guys talk about how cold it is when you are, whereas I'm trying not to melt. I mean, I even looked it up before. In Fahrenheit, it's apparently where I am about 88, but feels like 100. Because
that's
the
about our
humidity is
summer.
very high.
Yeah, that sounds like a humidity factor I wouldn't be able to breathe in. That sounds like Orlando grade humidity.
Yeah, honestly, that would fit because my home state is very much. I usually joke that we're a lot like Florida in that it's very hot, and they deal with hurricanes. We deal with cyclones.
But I think a 12-degree difference is probably what I experienced in Connecticut. I remember I was shocked the first time that I went to California when it was nice. Like the very first, or one of, or yeah, the first time I went to California as an adult, it was like cloudy, so I didn't really experience the weather. But I remember when I went to Anaheim and it was like 80 out, and I was like, "This is 80. It feels like 70," and it was just the difference was how much less humid it was. That 70 in Connecticut is hotter than feels hotter than 80 in Anaheim.
And it is. It's the heat index that's making the difference, which is the bizarre combination of heat and humidity.
Which I don't think the Weather Channel app shows anywhere.
I think it does. But I think Weather Channel shows it somewhere, but they don't show it very well.
AccuWeather calls it the real feel, but it's the same thing. It's the heat index.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Weather Channel, I believe, does it feels like next to the.
Yeah, that's always nice.
Thing. Yeah.
Yes, that's also it with the heat index. Yeah. I just remember growing up, and they didn't have, it feels like real feel. It was the weather guys always like, yeah, it's going to be about 95 with a heat index over 100. So
it is currently 0 in my location and feels like -13.
Now that's why they did that, is because now in summertime you deal with heat index, and wintertime you deal with wind chill.
Right.
Oh shit! Yeah, never
mind. But either way, it comes out. Yeah. But yeah, so that either way they have to deal with actual temperature, how long it's going to take you to freeze outside or melt outside. Oh, it's the one thing I hate about Wisconsin. I can deal with our summers, but our winters, I'm just like, oh God, please fast forward to spring already.
Meanwhile, I'm the person. I mean, actually, Southern Ohio is definitely making me less of a winter person because I was like, oh, 25 degrees. I don't want to get a coat on for that. I'll just stay inside until it's over 40, and then I can just wear a long sleeve shirt. I guess it's just laziness.
It is. And mind you, I used to have a roommate a decade ago. It'd be 20 degrees below zero. We'd make a trip to Quick Trip, and he's in shorts and a t-shirt.
Well, it depends on how far that walk is. If it's only like half a block, who cares? Heck, I'd do it in sandals when I lived in Madison.
Y'all are crazy.
20 below zero, I would say the average person has a fair chance of getting frostbite walking one block.
Well, I'd just go out there in the shorts and sandals with a hoodie on. The pizza was already pre-ordered. I'd just walk out of my apartment, walk across the street on the corner that it was built on, to the building next door there, and then right into their building, pick up my pizza, pay for it, and walk back. And this is during the middle of a convention meeting, too, I believe. Yep, my food's ready. I'll be right back.
All right, should we move on to tonight's show?
I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on tonight's show, we've got birthdays, a few birthdays to make up for the week that we had off. We have some geek talk, or we have news, of course. Do we have geek talk?
We do not.
I do not see anything under geek talk for once.
Yep.
Jesus.
I don't know if we have any reviews of Shame.
No, I've been too busy getting
Getting situated.
Mm-hmm.
getting defluidized, decaffeinated. And then our episode summary review, our friend plus our ratings, which will make this a short trip. All right. So birthdays. First of all, a correction. 2 weeks ago, they announced my birthday was on the 15th. This is incorrect. My birthday was on the 13th. I had it on Friday the 13th, and it sucked.
Does that mean you didn't
After
get
that-
the steak you were looking for, or just other suckiness?
No, I didn't get jack.
Ah,
The person I was going with was like, yeah, let me get some money and I can pay my own way. So we'll go to the Beacon for an hour, then we'll go out for breakfast, yada, yada, yada. Went to the Beacon, and we were there all day because the person they were waiting for never showed. Finally, I get out of there about 6:30 at night. It's 2 hours before the shelter stops taking people in. I'm like, no, I'm just going to get McDonald's and go back. So a very disappointing birthday for me.
that sucks.
I still haven't gotten my birthday dinner. Anyway, so moving forward to the 18th was the birthday of Christopher H. Bidmead, a script editor for the early 80s. He wrote and script edited the transition from Tom Baker to Peter Davidson. He turned 82. Speaking of Tom Baker, on the 20th, it was his birthday. He turned 89.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah,
Tom.
he's getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep.
I just found out he was actually in a video game that I'm kind of interested in playing.
Which one?
I can't remember the name off the top of my head right now. I just happened to notice it on GOG because another game I want to play got mentioned the game he was in as a possible other game I would be interested in.
Well, yeah, there was a while where he was doing some voice acting. quite frequently. That was around the same time he was doing the narrator for Little Britain. So his voice was that quite recognizable. Well, we all know Tom Baker. We know what his voice sounds like.
Hmm.
I don't think he has more than one voice, although I might be wrong about that.
Hey, some actors can make their way on that one voice. Michael Dorn does.
Mm.
All right. Moving forward to the 22nd, saw the birthday of Tommy Knight, who played Luke Smith on the Sarah Jane Adventures. He turned 30. Yes, that's right. Luke Smith is in his 30s. God help us all. Next, the posthumous birthday of John Hurt, who, of course, played the War Doctor in 2013. Would have been 83, but died in 2017 at the age of 77. And definitely a big miss for all of us. And finally, the 29th saw the birthday of Catherine Stewart, who played Jenny Flint, one of the Paternoster gang, from 2011 to 2014. She turned 35. In other news, we have news that actress Sylvia Syms has died at the age of 89. She played Mrs. Pritchard in the final season of Classic Who's Ghostlight. She was born in Southeast London in 1934. She was one of those children that were evacuated during the Blitz, moving out to Kent and then to Wales. Apparently, while that was going on, or while they were dealing with it, her mother died of a brain tumor when she was 12. She nearly had a nervous breakdown at 16, contemplated suicide, but had psychotherapy and found a love of acting there. She has been acting ever since. Originally in movies. She had worked with such people as Flora Robson, Orson Welles, Stanley Holloway, Willie Palmer, and William Holden. She was nominated for a BAFTA for the 1974 film The Tamarind Seed, where she starred with Julie Andrews and Omar Shant. From the mid-70s, her main work was on television, in many supporting roles. And, of course, that's where we catch her in Doctor Who. And in 2006, she played the Queen Mother in the Stephen Frears film The Queen. And her last role was in the 2019 series Gentleman Jack, where she played Mrs. Rawlinson. She died peacefully on Friday, the 27th of January, at Denville Hall, a care home in London for those in the entertainment industry. She is survived by her two children, Beatty and Ben Edney. Moving on. We have news that there's a couple of new cast members for Series 14. BBC has confirmed that Anita Dobson and Michelle Greenridge will be starring in the next series. Anita Dobson is known as the pub landlady Angie Watts on the BBC soap EastEnders, which I believe she's actually appeared in Doctor Who before.
In
Army of Ghosts.
I was like
in
something Ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, in Army of Ghosts. Other television roles include the 1989 ITV sitcom Split Ends. Michelle Greenridge is best known for her portrayal of Valerie in the Netflix series Afterlife, which I have not seen.
I've heard it's pretty good. So I've heard.
And apparently, she's worked with Russell before on the television drama It's a Sin. And they will be joining it under Nakui Gatwa as the 15th Doctor. So that's series news, not special.
Right.
Next, we have a possible connection that director Edgar Wright may be directing Doctor Who. That's based on those same publicity photos that we saw for the previous two people. Apparently, he had those doors on his Instagram page.
Oh.
And that might mean that he's working on the show. I'm trying to find out anything about Edgar Wright. I don't know anything about the guy.
Edgar Wright, is that I'm trying to remember Shaun of the Dead?
Shaun of the Dead, yeah.
And Hot Fuzz.
And Walter. Yeah, he did that whole Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy.
Okay, so he might be
Simon
directing / writing an episode, or it just might be a coincidence.
Or he may have been invited to visit the set or something. Oh, he did do Scott Pilgrim. I didn't realize that.
He's also, I believe, the original director for Ant-Man.
Yeah, but that didn't last.
That happens a lot. Yeah.
All right.
And then Baby Driver. Assigned Soho.
Yeah, he had previously turned down or denied rumors that he was directing an episode, but that may have just been for the mystery, or it may have changed since then, or it may be that he's not.
We don't know.
Right.
This is, however, causing the people point and say, "Look, he's directing." Okay. In other news, yes.
Sorry, I was looking at his credits. Upcoming possible movie, Running Man.
Yeah, I heard they were remaking that. I don't have much hope for it, as most of the remakes of those 80s, 90s classics have been complete and total crap. AKA what the abomination they did to Total Recall.
Total Recall, RoboCop. Ugh.
Anyway,
nobody talks about the Conan remake either.
No, except for now, if they do make a remake, if they do make a new Conan movie, we happen to know that the computer game company Funcom will be getting a piece of the pie. Because they actually own the IP now.
I believe the guy who owns the IP, he's basically said, we're not trying a movie right now. We are trying for a series, though, and so far it might be succeeding now.
If that happens, Funcom will also get a piece of that. Lucrative pie. Okay, moving on. Apparently, this July we'll see a new set of Target novelizations published. As we know, Target novelizations are kind of a tradition with Doctor Who, going way the hell back to the 70s. And the expansion this year looks like it's going to be For Blam by Peter McTighe from Jodie Whittaker era. Planet of the Ood by Keith Temple from the David Tennant era. Waters of Mars by Phil Ford, also from the Tennant era. The Zygon Invasion, which is probably a conversion of both the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's from the Capaldi era. And Warriors Gate and Other Stories by Stephen Gallagher.
So at least one
which is
Tom
an expanded
Baker.
version of, which is a expanded version of the Warriors Gate novelization, which has been out for a long time. I happen to know it was the first Target novel I ever had. And all of them are written by their original screenwriters. So, yay!
Yep. I was mixing up Waters of Mars with Empress of Mars for a second, but
I
that's
didn't.
not the same.
Nope. Water of Mars does not have ice warriors.
Right. Which
even
is
though it
kinda
sounds
weird.
like it should. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a quick reference, but that's it.
All right. And then
I don't know if you intentionally reorganized them or you skipped one by accident.
Oh no, I missed that by accident. Video news. Season 9 has been announced as the next collection of Blu-rays coming out, and that would be John Pertwee's third season.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the Doctor and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Joe's second season.
Yep. The one where the Master isn't behind everything, just most things.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, they finally get to leave Earth.
But not under the power of the TARDIS.
Yep. That would happen between season 9 and season 10. Because the 10th anniversary special and then the 10th season happened, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But so that would include the episodes Day of the Daleks. The Daleks making a comeback after being shipped to the United States and not bought on.
Mm-hmm.
Curse of Peladon, Sea Devils, The Mutants, and The Time Monster. Couple of good episodes in there.
Yep.
You consider the Sea Devils Centaurans, that's 3 returning monsters that season.
Consider the Sea Devils, and I think you mean
I mean,
that
not
they are,
Centaurans. I meant to say Silurians. At least I got a few of the letters correct, but not the right planet.
That night, Bill was visited
the hell out of
upon
me,
by
Bill.
rhinos.
Rhinos is a different other species.
Yes, but they're just Centaurans with snouts. Let's face it.
Yeah.
How many people were able to see the trailer for this?
Nope.
I just heard about it.
Gotcha. So yeah, so it's basically a trailer. It's almost as if knowing RT, I would say if I didn't know better, I'd think it was, but knowing RTD, it actually might. It's almost as if it were a sneak pilot of a Joe Jones Adventures series. You see, Joe Jones kind of picks up a couple on a date in a cave who are being menaced by a sea devil, and they watch a sea devil egg hatch. So it's it's set in that's set in the modern day like all the other trailers, but it's an interesting one. It's very well done trailer.
I'll have to watch it at some point, but not right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, that takes us down to our big finish releases, of which we have a few, since it's been a couple of weeks. We saw the Diary of River Song, Series 11 on the 12th. Doctor Who Cass, featuring Paul McGann and Emma Campbell-Jones on the 18th. Class, The Secret Diary of a Rhodian Prince by Blair Mowat, starring Greg Austin and Jordan Renzo on the 24th. And the 28th got us Torchwood Double by Guy Adams, starring Louise Jameson. What Louise Jameson is doing in Torchwood, I don't know.
She's been playing is a leader of a Torchwood from like in history. So it's the Louise Jameson ones are not modern day.
Okay, so she's just having fun voice acting.
Kind of. Definitely not Leela.
And anyway, that's all the news we have this week. And considering we have no geek talk, we're moving right to the summary.
Yep.
Which apparently is me.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I watched this last week, and I didn't rewatch it this week. But I did watch it, so give me a moment to compose my thoughts.
Okey-doke.
Somebody needs to put up a stopwatch.
Are you there?
Me. Sip a little from my cup. Okay.
All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
It starts out with basically London being hit by a massive storm. The storm is spreading all across the south of England, and it's devastating, tearing stuff up, it's tearing stuff down, and the professor and K9 seem to think if it's an alien origin from a species they thought were extinct called the Aeolians. Well, once they center on the epicenter of the storm, which seems to be a cathedral, not too far from where they are, conveniently, they find that, yes, there's a female Aeolian there trying to contact her mate in the heavens using the cathedral's organ and the dome of the cathedral as some kind of sound booster. They set off to stop, but the team of Starkey, Darius, and K9 have to break up as they get a call from Georgie, who's had her roof fall on her. Starkey goes to administer first aid while the others go to deal with the Aeolian. Starkey manages to keep Georgie from slipping into a coma until the police bots arrive to help pull her out of the wreckage. Starkey confronts the Aeolian, who is not going to stop playing until she reaches her mate. But, of course, our favorite asshole shows up, has his bots assault her. She becomes too wounded to play, and Starkey has to finish it based off a song he's got stuck in his head. It works, and the mate is contacted, and they end the storm, all live happily ever after the end.
All right. So that would have been 2 minutes and about 8 seconds.
Which is about a minute longer than it needed.
Last week you compared this to a Star Trek episode, but I couldn't figure out which one based off my memory alone.
Okay, the base plot of this is basically an alien is causing sound to create an atmospheric disturbance that's disrupting the planet. In Star Trek IV, a space probe arrives at Earth, making a sound pitch aimed at the oceans on such amplitude, it starts causing cloud covers and severe storms all over the planet.
Okay, I wasn't I that did cross my mind, but I wasn't sure if it was if it was similar enough to be what you meant. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's similar enough, and if you look at it, there's one fundamental difference, and that difference should make all the difference. in Star Trek 4, the probe is directing sound down towards the planet at this extremely high pitch and amplitude, and that's what's causing the disruption. In this episode, the Aeolian is projecting the sound out from the planet.
Right.
It shouldn't be affecting jack squat, ladies and gentlemen. But if you look at it, the thing that they say the dome does to create the sound that's causing the effect, yeah, that would work as if somebody was projecting it onto the dome, not starting in the dome.
Yeah.
Bothered the fuck out of me.
Okay, careful. We're starting to get into least favorite territory.
Yeah, and I probably will bring that up again. So let's go ahead and start about what we liked about the episode. And Alex, you're first, apparently.
Oh, I didn't flip it. I didn't.
I
touch
think
the order,
I think I flipped the order last week.
Oh, okay.
And then we didn't podcast, so I'm just playing it as is.
Oh, okay. I know I added you back to the order today, but
I think I'm just gonna go with Georgie for this, just because the acting for her is pretty good in this. Like, some of the younger actors can be like spotty in some episodes, but this is like she's given a lot to do and she does fairly well with it.
her acting almost distracts from the fact that some of the parts of roof on her look like they're literal paper.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. She acted her ass off in this episode.
Yeah, it really distracted you from the styrofoam roof toppings. All right, Matt.
I'm trying to think. I will say that I believe outside of some of the spotty explanations, a lot of the plot was actually at least followable and sensical, and we occasionally usually have some like really bad like this is just happening so it can happen moments, especially with certain main cast members, but they seem to actually manage to avoid it this episode. Like, most of the characters were actually doing sensible things, and one of them in particular, who's usually just a jerk just to be a jerk, wasn't actually doing that for a change. Which is strange. It's almost like he's developing or something.
Okay, so yeah, first I was gonna say that could refer to two different characters, but Drake definitely is not developing.
Oh no, Drake
So
is not
you're
developing.
definitely
He's very
referring
much
to
a
the
one
other
note.
one.
Yes, I'm referring to the other one. Drake is not developing. If anything, he's at least seems to be a competent annoyance. But even then, his annoyance seems to only be temperamental.
He's still playing the Malfoy.
Yeah.
Yep. Because even his role, while annoying, was actually one that actually made sense in the situation and was not just him being a dick.
Well, it was partially him being a dick because he's refusing to listen to anybody. But
true. Oh yeah, by that point. But I mean, showing if an alien is about to is in the process of destroying the planet, showing up and shooting that alien in the head is kind of a logical response. But yeah,
okay.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's your ball.
Okay. But yeah, since you were kind of generalizing with yours, Matt, so I'm just going to be specific. I will say, Darius was by far better in this episode than ever before. He had some good acting. He was actually written in a way that it is reminiscent of some plots that we're not fans of, that we've stated many times that we're not. But he wasn't like creepy or weird or an asshole.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
well placed in here. He was actually being helpful. He was being a good friend. He was, the acting portrayed that part. And I mean, even the fact that Darius is in the episode and we don't hate him is probably enough for that to be my favorite thing about the episode. But the fact that he actually is likable in this episode elevates that more.
Mm.
And on the opposite leg of that note, I was going to say my favorite thing about the episode is finally Darius gets shut down.
That's also true.
After the 6 months of him being the creepy the creepy I'll go out with you kind of guy, and he goes fishing for it, and he gets skunked. And I'm just like, yes. Very obviously skunked, too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you got the door slammed in your face that hard, you gotta give it up.
Right.
Mm.
Like you have to admit that she's not that into you.
All right, so let's talk about what we didn't like.
God. I guess. I mean, I'm kind of nitpicking, but Tone has some issues. Like one of the scenes had, like, you go from the more serious subplot of, oh god, Georgie might be crushed by all this styrofoam, to like Starkey humming that tune, and or just like the other stuff, which is a bit, in places anyway, not the whole thing, can have like silly which I guess, you gotta have some levity, but it's just kind of weird with the choices they have to contrast the tone. So it's like, it's not that I needed this to be like 100% serious, but like just some of the scene transitions.
The emotional whiplash when you're literally cutting back from scenes where like Georgie has like blood makeup, to the extent that they could afford, and she's like seemingly like having her lungs crushed, and then they cut immediately to Starkey humming and bantering with K9.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Matt?
Overall thing I didn't like. Oh, well, which one to go on? I will say, overall thing I didn't like about the episode is that the main threat becomes very hand wavy in the last act.
Yeah.
Like they have this whole setup that something's making this noise, something's making this giant noise that's somehow altering the status of the weather effects of the entire world and throwing everything into chaos and making all these crazy storms. And then they just kind of like, oh, it's just this monster that we thought was dead. Okay. Oh, and it's going to actually, what it's doing is actually going to pulverize the world and just shatter it. And it's like, well, then we need something really big to stop it. Oh, but her husband, if he happens to somehow be alive somewhere out in space anywhere, can call back and essentially cancel everything. What?
I'm amused that you say hand wavy, because once they found the alien, she was literally just waving her hands.
Yeah, the alien itself is literally just a giant hand wave in the back of the room, in front of an organ. It's like, the heck? So yeah, it felt like they had a thing set up for the main purpose of the story, and then just kind of wrote off how to do it, get rid of it in like less than 5 minutes, and it's very much a, well, that just happened moment.
Okay. My issue is it has some similarities to that, but not necessarily the same, and that's the I don't know if you want to call it science or technobabble or whatever you want to call it of this episode is bad. First of all, you know why they call it light years? Because it takes light, which travels faster than sound, years to travel. So, I mean, if they had, instead of using sound, had just used like alien energy, it would have been already 100 times more sensible than using sound across hundreds of light years instantaneously. Secondly, what does the sound will link with gravity mean? Does it mean anything? Could it even possibly mean anything? It's the worst technobabble I've ever heard because
just raises too many questions.
It doesn't even confuse me enough for me to shrug. It just confuses me enough to make me rage and keep hitting that clip of that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
And I'm going to throw in with you on this one too, because this was mine. I think the problem happened is this discrepancy was born through edits.
Oh.
Like revisions of the story.
Mm.
Because you want to bet at some point the Aeolian was, in orbit, projecting down on the planet, looking for her husband.
Right, and then they suddenly realized they couldn't afford that.
And how would they get there?
Mm-hmm.
So they had to reverse it, but they didn't reverse any of the physics involved with it.
I mean, they do have an invisible alien pyramid parked somewhere nearby.
Yeah, but if we had a dime for every invisible alien pyramid that's shown up in a Doctor Who style show, the other thing is, the issue you had, I want to bet the original idea was that it took that sound and compressed it using the funnel of the dome into like a hyperspace signal. But somewhere that technobabble was lost in editing.
I could buy that. It's probably someone just going, "Oh, this is a kid's show. You don't have to explain that much."
Wrong.
Then the kids watch this episode, and then they go into 8th grade physics class, and they're like, "What is going on?
How do I combine the audio with the gravity? What? Combine!"
I mean, if they wanted to explain how sound waves can disrupt, atmosphere based on just the vibrations, I could buy that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they didn't. They exerted gravity, and like, no, wrong.
Yeah, I was buying it up until the 3rd act. That's why I say my complaint has some similarities with Matt's.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I suspect it was one of those things that was lost or gained in a script edit.
Might have been partially scripted. It also does seem kind of occasionally with this show there's some weird edits going on with the actual video too. Like I've occasionally noticed there's occasional lip flaps where no audio comes out with certain characters at points, and I did see that again today, and I'm like, huh. Me thinks this might have been hastily edited. Whoops.
Like we need more looping footage of Georgie in her bad injury makeup. So we need to cut another scene.
We need
We
more
need more
time
time
with
of Darius backing up on Georgie. No, we don't. No, we don't.
We need more time to let the alien look like a slow motion inflatable tube man.
You go to that. I went straight to Power Ranger villain.
Yeah.
Like a new, whatever given season's
Well,
version of
that's
the
the
putties.
costume design. That is very much Power Rangers. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's because that's the budget they've got. As much as people like Power Rangers, you got to admit Saban didn't give it a very high budget for its remakes, and the original Sentai shows didn't have that high a budget either. They're pulp.
Right.
I was gonna say, wait,
Crank
you
'em
think
out
Saban made the costumes?
No, I was going to say, well, they had to remake some of the
To make
costumes.
some of them.
Depending upon which year, they may have had the budget to remake some of them. Otherwise, they had a direct request to Toei to ship the costumes over.
If you notice, especially in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, which is what most people know, a lot of the time you'll see it switch from a well-made quality costume to a cheap, shitty costume.
Yeah.
The cheap, shitty one was the one made by Saban.
Mm-hmm. And they'd be able to remove the helmets and reveal the actors, yeah.
Anyway, so now we're up to favorite scenes.
Yep. Obvious as a pick as it is, I think I'm gonna go with I mean, it's kind of funny because you could kind of lump them all together, really. But like the specific scene with the Georgie having been crushed, where she's just trying to reach something, and like she's just really selling the pain of just trying. Like she seems to be like legitimately making herself cry. And it's just like, God damn, where'd this acting come from?
Yeah. Well, there's a reason I think that actress is actually still acting. Whereas I think the male guys are just kind of like, nah, it's not for us.
Yeah.
The funny thing is she was the youngest of them. She was 16 when this was done.
She was more legit than the other boys.
Oh, what is her name?
Philippa Coulthard.
Yep. Because I believe the guy that played Starkey, I think, went into music instead. No, actually, I think she did quit.
Oh.
Last thing she's credited for was 2019, so it might just be that she's doing stuff the wiki isn't keeping up with. Like Aussie stage stuff or something.
Maybe.
Granted, 2019, then COVID hit. Maybe there's just been less
maybe she just has put things
here.
on pause for right now too. You never know.
No, she's in a TV series this year, Darby and Joan.
No, there we go.
And then for the people gone, Parallax Effect, Howard's End, the series, the cat, yeah. So she's done quite a bit. She actually had a role before K9. And yeah, she's been nominated for a BAFTA.
Oh,
wow!
For her work in, I think, 2017.
The weird thing is that she looks exactly the same.
Yeah, so some women, that's just how it goes. And
And
Tom Holland, oddly enough.
apparently, Starkey's still in it too. He had some. He spent 8 years on a TV series called Rake, and trust me, you wouldn't think his current. You look at him in the current pictures, and you're like, oh, no, that's not the same person. It is.
Actually, that's Luke's actor now too. You look at him, it's like, oh wow, it has been quite some time, hasn't it?
Apparently, Starkey appeared in Superman Returns
Really?
as Boy with Camera.
Oh, I think I actually might remember that scene. Because there was a scene where
That was actually before K9. Okay.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, that makes sense. Superman Returns was, yeah.
Yeah, he'd be the kid that just kind of shows up with a cell phone. He was very young then.
And yeah, Daniel Weber's still acting too. That's Darius. He was the one that was in the Punisher TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Okay. That's right. I think Alex pointed that out at one point.
But he has a series that came out last year called Billy the Kid, where he was playing Jesse Evans, and he was in an episode of a series called a podcast series called Baraska. So
okay,
he's
him
still
being
doing stuff.
him being in a show about Billy the Kid explains why the first image on IMDb he looks like a country singer.
He either looks like a country singer or a musketeer. Because if you notice he's got the mustache and the little itty bitty patch beard.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that might have to do with the fact that pre-COVID he was in a Netflix thing where he played the lead singer of Motley Crue, which would also explain him growing his hair out.
That might beat it too. Anyway, nope, I was wrong. They're all still acting.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see why she had a BAFTA nomination.
Yeah.
From that
from this episode you can see who was really into it.
Okay.
John Leeson is still K9.
Oh yeah. It's like all he does now, but that's because he's almost retired.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Matt.
Favorite moment in this episode, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
What was it now? Oh, the professor's gained some more background too, which also is a nice bit of a touch, and in particular the moment when Georgie's mom shows up and starts questioning them as they're trying to still figure out what's going on. Apparently he was a part of a group that almost caused a doomsday level disaster. I'd like to know some more information on that, and like in particular who might have stopped it. Maybe he was the one. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting to get some more development on him because, again, as I've stated before, we are lacking some severe information on Griffin.
Oh yeah, there's not been a lot of character development at this point, so and where are we at? This is Aeolian. We're halfway through the series.
Right.
So they only got another 13 episodes to start showing some character development.
Right.
Yeah, like I guess it's kind of funny as well because like 2 episodes ago we possibly found out about Starky's parents as well, so they're starting to let that stuff seep in. We'll see if it keeps up though.
Yeah.
Right. Is that up to me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, speaking of character development, I'm going to go with Darius and Georgie's heart to heart. Like we've all said, they both kind of acted their asses off in that scene. They kind of address all of the, all the stuff that we were just like, okay, yeah, we get it. There's a love polygon of some sort. Um, and whatever's going on, and they're like, okay, we're actually going to address it up front. Communicate about it. I guess I can buy the fact that Georgie was oblivious enough to have no idea that Darius's French girlfriend was supposed to be his crush on her, but especially given the situation of everything going on. But it was good to just get it out of the way in a relatively mature way, considering the two characters who were talking. And
Bill, I honestly suspect she had something on her mind. And
yeah,
her chest,
yes,
and her waist,
exactly,
and her legs.
right. And I mean, if she's thinking of confessing her feelings to Starkey, then she might not necessarily be thinking about how Darius has been feeling all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was it progressed the story that some of the stuff that had been running on a treadmill, and it was also well acted, and yeah, I would say probably well written, especially by the standards of K9.
Yep. I have to go with you on that because that was my choice,
Yeah.
leaving me with a big fat nothing for her favorite scene. All right, least favorite scene.
I will say a slight runner-up, probably just because it's kind of funny. For best scene for me would have been uh Drake saying that he'd drag him in for being a mad scientist, and Georgie's mom's just like, last I checked, that wasn't a crime. Sort of like, okay, but why would we care? Like we're the evil overlords. Why do we give a shit? But yeah, uh,
Whereas Drake is just like probable cause. What's that? I just if I feel like bringing someone in, I bring them in.
Oh, I did have one that I could do as a runner up.
Okay.
Georgie's actual rescue by the police bots.
Right.
Ah,
They actually
they
served a
did something
function.
useful.
Right. They're actually useful. Heaven forbid.
And they followed procedure.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't
They
threaten
still
to arrest anybody.
they still sounded like a reject from a Monty Python skit, but they managed to do their job and rescue somebody without trying to arrest them for being suspicious. They didn't ask why Darius was there.
Mhm.
They're just like, "All right, ma'am, we'll get on it," and they start lifting off the pieces.
And then they awkwardly left as they were immediately ignored.
Right.
Kind of
They
funny.
still did their function, which
Yeah.
So up at this point, they had been nothing but a bunch of incompetent, incompetent foils. And here you get to see, yes, they do when they can, they do perform their function well. So yes, I enjoyed seeing that. All right, back to least favorite. Sorry.
Yep. Ooh, let's see. God. It's kind of hard to pick one because, like, I feel like the nitpicky things are usually overalls for me. But I guess just to go with something with no setup to the fact that he can play piano, the fact that he can just play. I mean, like, yeah, he's kind of screwing up a little bit, but he's able to hold a tune on a friggin' pipe organ pretty
Right.
well for someone who, as far as we know, has never touched one before.
Maybe his parents injected him with that too. So now for Matt.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Matt.
All right. So least favorite scene.
Yep.
Yep.
So the main baddie comes in to fight off the alien, has his goons shoot the alien. The alien still doesn't die, is just temporarily stunned at best, and takes only one threat from K9, and they immediately stop any further attempts to even try to attack. Tell me, how is this our main bad guy again? He starts to act like he might be a big bad guy, and then he just kind of tail between his legs the rest of the episode after doing one thing.
Because the good guys aren't willing to go to war with him. But yeah, I see your point.
He undermines his threat almost every other episode, and he was starting to build up again, and then he immediately undermined himself again in literally one episode.
Like, wow, it's like, wow, that's all K9 has to say, and you literally evacuate. You don't even hang around and back off. You just go straight home.
Oh no, they didn't even do that. They just sat there and stared.
I thought they completely left.
They just sat there and watched with their arms crossed, twiddling their thumbs.
Okay, because I thought when the other aliens showed up, there were no people in the background.
No, they're still there.
Okay,
I think they just had an angle where they weren't in the shot.
That might be it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, if K9's like, I will literally turn you into dust, I'd probably be like, you know what? This isn't really worth it.
You know what? Maybe the alien dog robot thing that has persisted and undermined our ability to actually save the world might be willing to actually do that. Fine.
Yeah. Which is funny because I think this is the first time I can recall of K9 ever flat out threatening to kill someone. So it's interesting that it happens in a kid's show.
Well, that, and also it happens because they're literally threatening to kill the rest of the world because of their stupidity.
Well, yeah. True. Like, very unique circumstances, but it is just kind of funny that he does not sugarcoat it. He's like, I will basically, like, you will not exist.
I will turn you all to molten slag if you don't knock it off.
I think in Doctor Who he might have just, like, he would fire a warning shot, but he wouldn't say the words.
Yeah.
All right, Bill?
So, hopefully I'm not taking Rans again, but it's entirely possible that I am. Oh, we're getting a response from her mate. He's hundreds of thousands of light years away. That's the moment where I started yelling at my screen. It was like, sound does not work that way. It will never work that way. No matter how much you want it to, sound does not work that way. There's a reason they are called light years.
There's logic in what he says.
Like I said, I figured the explanation was, as I mentioned it, they focused the beam into a hyperspace signal. They just didn't explain it. And yes, those things need to be explained.
Right.
So but Rans. Instead, mine is from the very same scene as I think like 2 or 3 of us. It's when Starkey sits down and he plays the song from his memories, which he was having before this whole disaster started, and it works at summoning the. It works as fitting. That's just such a Deus Ex that I'm just like, no. No,
For
we're
that
done.
matter, that actually would have been better if they had cut the scene where he was like, "Oh, you were humming at K9," because why would K9 have been humming it? Like that, it makes more sense if he just like he heard the rhythm in like the very like it was at such a pitch that he could only hear it subconsciously or something. That would make a lot more sense.
Again, the
than
whole
saying
alien
K9
DNA
taught it to
thing
him.
again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just it just annoyed me.
And he should have scratched his shoulder.
All right, that takes us to final thoughts.
Honestly, pleasantly surprised by this episode. Like, again, I feel like it's not as good as Ouroboros, which to me is still like the best episode so far. But it's definitely not. Again, it's like so far, it's like okay, they've seemed to have finally gotten into a rhythm for at least a bit. We'll see if this sticks. But
See how much of it sticks.
yeah. But at the very least, it feels like we've had like a high point and then 2 after a low point, and then 2 episodes after it that aren't as good. Like we definitely have a lot more to complain about than Ouroboros. But still like good in other areas enough that it brings it up. And like I said it before, like holy crap, just some of the acting from Georgie's actor in this is like holy shit, where'd this come from? And it's just a matter of having better stuff to work with than they usually have. Although it is kind of funny because some of the best acting is non-verbal. So she's just being allowed to act without having to worry about dialogue. And yeah, like as it's been said, how the whole it's not even like a love triangle because it's more like one person has a crush on someone who has a crush on that person.
And Starkey might be completely asexual for all we know.
Well, I mean, it's clear, and they even have like they almost get into a fight over who's going to go and save. Well, they don't know about save at the time, but go and check on Georgie. But I think it's just a matter of in the moment. Starkey at the end is just like, which honestly, that was kind of an interesting choice to have her go to like, confess her feelings, and then he's just like, "Oh, hey, glad to see you safe. I'll see you in a minute." And so she's kind of like, "Oh, okay." Though to be fair, he didn't really know the. Oh no, he probably did. Granted, because there is that bit where he's yelling over the thing.
Oh yeah.
To be like, no, it's that one. So, in that way, it's kind of odd that he's not like, oh my god, you're alive. But I guess it's a matter of he realized that Darius didn't fuck up. So it's like, yeah, I trust Darius to not fuck this up. But yeah, honestly, yeah, solid episode. We learned some new stuff. Like, I forget if that whole calamity thing had been brought up before.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I can recall. If it has been, it's been way too long, and they barely mentioned it before.
It might have been mentioned by the time traveler in that one episode. But I'm not entirely sure either.
Yeah. So like
And
either way,
I'm
it's
not in a hurry
generally
to binge K9
yeah.
to get the story all in one go.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just I really hope this keeps up because, I'm basically at this point grading this on like to a point its own merits, but also against Sarah Jane, but like I feel like I'm leaning away from comparing it to Sarah Jane now, just because it's very clearly its own thing with its own issues it's got to deal with and budget stuff and whatever. Um, but it's just nice to be pleasantly surprised that this is getting better. Like it's, I just very much hope that Ouroboros wasn't the peak and we're just gonna be on a slow downward trend where there's just a very slow dropping quality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like honestly, if there was an episode that I was gonna get someone to watch from this, if I couldn't be bothered recommending Ouroboros, I would probably recommend this. Like this is legitimately an episode I could see myself actually watching again on my own.
All right. Matt?
All right. I will say that yes, the acting and the character development seems to be continuing on, at least at the moment. My only major qualm with this is that the issue of the day is hand waved away really fast in the last act, and we've mentioned that it's a bit of a chintzy outfit, but honestly, it could be a lot worse. We have seen a lot worse on this show. Um, Power Rangers Monster B, and so be it. At least it's got some sort of budget behind it. I will say that the pseudoscience, air quotes, big time on that one, is probably the major flaw in this particular episode. And one of the major issues that just can you see that is, Bill and Randy have been going on it for the majority of this episode. I will say I highly agree with them. I just wanted to leave that to the two of them since they seem to be really hitting that elephant in the room real hard with a freaking mallet. But yeah,
Right.
I will say that overall it's not a bad episode, but there is definitely an issue.
All right. Bill?
Yep. So like we've been hinting at throughout, this seems to be one of the better episodes of K9 that then just kind of falls apart toward the end. It's I would say at this point probably the best acted of the series. It's not the best effects, but honestly the best effects of a K9 episode are probably still not that great.
Honestly, Ouroboros so far.
Okay.
They're not great, but they're the best they've had so far.
Right. But yeah, so it's what was that? Yeah, the drama is competently written. The sci-fi is not. Which Rand has his theories as to why. We don't really have any conclusive evidence about that. Um, Otherwise, I agree with what's been said that this is one of the top tier episodes. Um, the fact that it does that last minute swerve into a wall is going to make it hard to rate, but placed in the context of the show with improving the character development, it continues the trend we've seen over the past couple of episodes, which is really nice. And the next episode of K9, which we won't be covering for a while, is the actual midpoint of the show when you would expect things to really ramp into the next level. So hopefully that trend continues. And I think that's all I have to say.
All right, and that leaves it to me. I will say this: the acting's good. The special effects are, well, let's not talk about the special effects. The problem is the writing here shows the fact that the third act was probably hastily rewritten or badly written and in need of a rewrite, as well as some of the other some of the other science, technobabble, physics, what have you, involved in the episode. Something happened behind the scenes that caused some of the stuff to change. And yeah, that really detracts from this episode. It really makes what could have been a decent episode into, well, mediocrity. All right, let's rate this thing. And Alex, you're first.
As much as I think this is better than Alien Avatar, I still don't think it's on par with Ouroboros. So, I'm just gonna have to give it a 4.
All right, Matt.
I believe because of, again, the issues that plague it in that last act, I just can't give it above a 3.5. It's very close, though.
Bill?
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with the 3.5. That's on par with Alien Avatar, and the tension between the really great stuff and the really awful stuff kind of even out there.
We'll agree on the 3.5. So 3 of us give it a 3.5. 1 of us gives it a 4. That averages out to a 3.63, which will put us at about 281 out of 441 things reviewed. We are on par with nothing in in spin-offs, a few episodes of Torchwood, but we're better than Sarah Jane Adventures Sky, which came in at a 3.5, and not as good as The Gift, which came in at a 3.7. So there you are. Once again, 281 out of 440 things reviewed, 41 things reviewed. That is all we have to say about Aeolian.
All right, if you've watched this episode, please let us know in the comments what you thought of it. Don't forget to like the video if you've listened this far, and subscribe on YouTube to get our exports every time we stream, or follow us on Twitch to get notified when we go live.
So next week, or next time that we podcast, will be the season finale for this season. And you can join us as we go back to the beginning of Big Finish, with Big Finish, The Sirens of Time, written by Nicholas Briggs and starring Peter Davidson, Colin Baker, and Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor.
All right, I guess we'll see you all next time. Have a good night.
See you then.